Well, I think there's something utterly appalling about the destruction of the sycamore tree at the Hadrian's Wall. I also think that the sentencing of 4 years for Daniel Graham and Adam Carruthers, the two men who deliberately cut down the tree, seems very odd in comparison to other sentences recently. The case drew national fury for good reason. The sycamore gap tree was not just a plant, but a cultural monument standing over a century on Hadrian's Wall, and it was a place of memory, art, and community. In September 2023, if you remember, Graham and Carruthers travelled by car for over 40 minutes to in the middle of a storm, equipped with a chainsaw and spray paint, and they crossed dark moorland, found the tree, and executed a plan to cut it down. Well, they executed the tree. They filmed the destruction, less than 3 minutes of sawing, and they took a wedge as a trophy. They later exchanged boastful messages about the media frenzy that they had caused. I must point out that in my garden, I had some rather lovely trees of 12 feet tall, and neighbours popped over the garden fence and cut those trees down, which I find rather shocking when I was away. And so, there is tree felling all over the place. I was told it's not covered by insurance. I was told it's not a criminal offence. It might be a criminal offence, but it's not going to be something the police are going to get bothered about. But they will get bothered about the sycamore tree. And Mrs. Justice Lambert, the judge, was unpersuaded by claims of drunken stupidity, describing instead a moronic mission motivated by sheer bravado and thrill-seeking, and their sentence, 4 years and 3 months, may strike some. It strikes me as harsh for property damage, but there are reasons for its severity. Cultural and emotional harm. It wasn't just a tree, but a beloved landmark, and the National Trust described it as totemic and irreplaceable. It was damage to heritage. It fell onto Hadrian's Wall, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It wasn't impulsive vandalism, but a coordinated, equipped, sober mission of planning and premeditation. And the aftermath, they revelled in their notoriety and attempted to deflect blame onto each other. And this sentence reflects in part society's desire to defend irreplaceable heritage, communal values, and the emotional investment of thousands. Now, to compare that to the sentencing for burglary, a crime of predatory personal violation, here are two examples which I just pluck out of the air, out of nowhere, really. Paul Howell, a prolific burglar in Northumberland with over 100 prior convictions, including 25 burglaries, received a sentence of 3 years and 7 months. He broke into homes, he stole personal property, he left occupants frightened in their own beds, and yet his sentence was shorter than that of the Sycamore Gap Vandals. Brian Harold, 20 years old, admitted burglary, attempted burglary, via vehicle theft and interference. He left dog poo footprints at the scene, almost comic incompetence, but his crimes included entering private homes and cars at night, and he received an 18-month community order with unpaid work. Well, it seems to me that burglary and terrorizing people in their own homes is significantly more important than cutting down a tree. And given the fact that my trees are considered irrelevant, I don't understand how the sycamore tree has gained such notoriety. Yes, it's popular. Yes, there is the shocking violation of nature, but the consistency isn't there, is it? Burglary is traumatizing. Victims often live with fear for years, yet courts sometimes impose such leniency, citing addiction, youth, or even bungling execution. And surely we have bungling execution here. So why the disparity? The sycamore gap tree, the sentence, is symbolically heavy. It punishes not just damage to property, but damage to meaning, to inheritance, to identity. It acts as a warning: destroy cultural treasures and you will pay dearly. Meanwhile, burglary sentences are often moderated for social factors: poverty, drugs, chaotic childhoods, And the courts weigh rehabilitation, but one could argue it is morally inconsistent, is it not, to punish an attack on the landscape, on a landscape feature, more harshly than repeated invasions of people's private safe spaces? Is a tree, even a great historic tree, worth more punishment than a frightened family in their violated home? My view is this: the Sycamore Gap vandals deserve severe punishment, but our justice system ought to examine why burglary, which devastates human lives, is so often treated as a lesser crime, why criminal damage, or what seems to be criminal damage, when people cut down other people's trees, is treated as barely a crime at all. Justice should not be a spectacle of symbolism alone. It should protect people, their homes, their memories, their dignity, at least as much as it protects ancient trees that have become a sort of landmark. So while I entirely applaud the fact that these thugs have been punished, I look around the system as it stands, and I think this is inconsistent, this is chaotic, this is incoherent. I'd love to know what you think.